Began with a prayer and a moment of silence for Justine Damond. And as the crowd grew, they listened as rally organizers spoke about what's weighing heavily on their minds.
We are here to express our deep concerns about a judicial system where citizens of color, in particular people of African descent, are victimized with no redress, and those accused of crimes are unable to get a fair trial.
And in this case, they believe that person is former Minneapolis police officer Muhammad Noor.
We have all had many tragedies in our lives, and we do not want Muhammad Noor to be another tragedy again.
And for the first time since a jury found Noor guilty of third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter, we're hearing from his family.
Muhammad knows and believes in the sanctity of life. Any attempts by the prosecution to say otherwise are not founded in truth, but in theater.
Thank you very much, and I will appreciate your coming.
There were harsh words for the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, specifically Mike Freeman, and how the case was handled.
It is clear that there is a double standard at work here against my brother. Mike Freeman has definitively shown us that whether you're the victim or the officer, justice is not something black people can ever expect from the office that he holds.
I can hear someone out the back, and I'm not sure if she's having sex or being raped.
This 911 call from Justine Damond is what eventually led officers Muhammad Noor and Matthew Harity to the alley behind her South Minneapolis home.
It sounds like sex noises, but it's been going on for a while, and I think I just need help, and it sounds distressed.
8 minutes later, Justine called 911 again.
If officers are on the way there.
5 pass, and after approaching the police car with her cell phone in her hand, Justine was shot dead.
Stay with me.
A teen passing on his bike shot this cell phone video right after the shooting.
What's happening, sir?
Just back up for us. Back up. You can videotape. Just back up.
What's going on?
We hear from Noor's partner, Matthew Harity.
The call over here, someone was screaming in the back. We pulled up here. We were about ready to just clear and go to another call. She just came up out of nowhere on the side of the thing. We both got spooked. I had my gun out. I didn't fire it, and then Noor pulled out and fired.
Prosecutors said the videos show officers covering for each other.
I know the direction is he shot and all that.
He was in the car.
The videos show confusion.
At first I thought maybe he shot at somebody.
He did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
he hit the person?
in the stomach.
Really?
I don't know what that
Shut up.
Yeah.
And they also show the officers turning their body cameras on and off. The jury still decided it was murder.
So we're here at the Black Lives Matter protest in Melbourne, Australia. Do you think no one ever protested like this? 40,000 people in the city for somebody who's not even Australian. But when Justine Damond was shot dead, and she doesn't have a criminal history, why do you think that is?
Well, I'd have to say that's a bit of white supremacy, is it not? You know, that's not, I mean,
Why is it white supremacy?
Well, because she's white. Because she's white. She's white.
Can I ask you something? So George Floyd is what kicked this off, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You care about George?
Of course.
Of course.
Somebody called Justine Damond? No.
No.
You sure?
Yep.
Do you know who she is?
Not explicitly, but I've heard just the name.
Do you know how many white Australians have died in police custody?
I don't really care, to be honest. Don't want to have a
You don't care.
No, I guess.
A person called Justine Damond.
No.
Justine Damond? Do any of you know that name?
Not that I know of. I haven't heard it.
Floyd is just one of many, and it's been happening since, you know.
Yeah, I understand that, but the problem is that statistically, actually, white people are killed at a higher rate by police in police custody. Unarmed white people, more unarmed white people.
Yeah, where are you getting your facts from?
PR News.
Yeah, no.
Are you arguing with the statistic, or you just don't like it?
I think you need to talk to people of colour and get their voices.
I'm a person of colour.
Yeah. But
Justine Damond was murdered, unarmed, no criminal history, by a black police officer in Minnesota.
Okay.
There was no rallies here in Australia, the country. You're Australian.
Yeah.
Why?
For that for that one specifically, because the majority of black people who get murdered in America aren't by black crime or by black people, it's actually by police officers or just white people. It's not, the majority of them is not from black people, so that's why we need to protest on that. And
I love my black brothers and sisters, but that's actually false, that's not true. You alright?
I was shot by a man of colour as well.
Yeah.
I did feel really sorry for him because I thought that there was an injustice for him as well.
For him?
What the fuck? Meant it. I don't think he really meant it.
Are we here for the protest for George Floyd? What happened to him is pretty horrible, yeah? Can I ask you something? Do you know somebody called Justine Damond?
no, I don't.
So Justine Damond was an Australian woman who was shot dead in Minnesota. She was white. The officer was a black African American. Why do you think no one came out for her? Why do you think you don't even know her name?
I think that like this.
How could you not know her name? She's an Aussie that was also murdered in Minnesota.
I had no idea, but it's horrible.
Do you not find that okay, so she happens to be white.
Yeah.
Her killer was an African American cop.
Yep.
Don't you find it weird that everyone's coming out? No? You don't like white people don't matter?
No, we read that people don't want us to talk to the press, so we're not going to
Oh, they
do
don't
that.
want, suddenly you don't want to, and they don't want to talk. Why do you think everybody's breaking the restrictions to come out for an American, but you don't even know an Australian's name? In America, the statistic for white people to die at the hands of police is much higher than the rate of... no?
I don't really. We're gonna go.
You don't care about facts?
We'd like to make no further comments, thank you. If you could ask someone who actually is involved with something like this.
You're not.
We are involved.
Okay, one last question. Do white lives matter?
It's not about white or black.
Have you heard of a woman called Justine Damond?
Yeah.
Who's she? No?
No, I haven't.
Have you heard of her?
No. There are more black people in prison in the legal system.
Because they're committing more crimes.
So that's
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah. So it's not because there are more police in their neighborhoods. It's
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Gotcha, bitch. A person called Justine Damond?
No.
No one knows Justine Damond? Damond was an Aussie woman that was also murdered in Minnesota. Why do you think no one here knows her name? Everybody's here protesting for an African American man, somebody that was a career criminal, but there's an Australian woman that had no criminal history, shot dead in Minnesota, and no one came out like this. Why do we think that happens? I might give you a hint.
Yeah.
She was white, he was black. Do you think that says anything?
Lady that was like. Yeah, I know this woman.
So you know the woman. Why do you think no one came out to protest for her? She never got a big rally for her.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
We were saying the same thing about Breonna Taylor.
Is Brianna black?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't speak to that. Justine happened to be white and her killer was African American and she didn't have any criminal history and she was in her pajamas. In fact, she's the one who called her. Why do you think nobody, they're breaching COVID restrictions to come out for an African American in America, but not for an Australian?
Story you're talking about.
So why didn't everyone come out for her?
They did. I think there was a lot of news coverage of.
No one protested.
I think they did.
Not one.
Turns out I was wrong. I apologise. I went to fact check this when I was editing it because I thought I don't want to look like an idiot that I was spreading fake news, especially because she was so sure that there was protests in that case. And it turns out there were protests. She is right. But the protests were not in support of Justine. They were in support of the cop, Mohammed Noor, who killed her, the murderer. Just to put that into perspective, think about if today a group of white supremacists started marching in support of George Floyd's killer. Imagine the outrage.
Do it on Google right now. Do it on Google right now.
So why shouldn't he support me?
What do you think?
No.
You don't have a right to talk. I'm a person of colour. What can I question this?
I'm just curious.
Why are you using your white privilege to silence a person of colour?
Because you're not answering.
Using your white privilege to silence a person of colour.
Because you're not answering, man. You're just throwing a mic in my face. So.
Well, that's my job. I'm the one asking questions. It's about colour.
Of course it's about colour.
It is about colour. So she matters less?
No, that's not even close to what I'm saying.
So what's about colour? What's the deal with colour?
Well, unfortunately, it's about human rights and equality. That's a problem.
So what inequality is there?
Well,
what inequality is there that...
A few years later.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.